I think we have a new Brandon Aiyuk update. I think. I don't know if you guys can consider this much of an update, as I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. It sounds like a lot of the things that we have heard already, but it is being presented as a sourced report from Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report, up and coming newsbreaker. He's been proven to be extremely reliable. So let's take a look at what he's saying, and then we will react and decide, is this a report? Is there anything new here? Or is this pretty much the same thing that we have heard for about the last week or so? So let's dive into it right now. So, this is what we just got from Jordan Schultz. He says sources, the 49ers and wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk had another meeting yesterday, and talks continue to progress on a long term contract extension. There has been movement on a deal, but there are some minor details that still need to be ironed out with ownership approval. All right, so let's talk about this. What's new, what's not? So, what we can say is new that we don't know is about Brandon Ayuk having another meeting in regards to moving this situation forward on a long term contract extension. But what it does appear to be the same is that there are just minor details that need to get ironed out. The ownership approval is a new aspect of it. So I'm assuming what they're trying to say is Jed York has to sign off on the particular request that is being made in order for this thing to be finalized, and which makes it sound like the ball is in the 49ers court in order to either accept Brandon Ayuk's trade or accept Brandon Ayuk's contract demands or trade him. So that seems to be where we're at. This is at the highest of levels in regards to approval, which I think we kind of understood that this is where this has been. It's been in this area where we are this close, but we've been this close what feels like for about a week now, almost going on, I think, a week and a half. So I can't really discern if that is really any new information. He does say there has been movement on a deal. But again, based on everything that we've heard, it sounds like there's pretty much the only movement is left is ownership basically approving what has been presented from Brandon Ayuk, his agency, on behalf of their client. So the way that I'm trying to interpret this particular report is that there has clearly been progress on these negotiations. They have got it to a point where it could be accepted. Like, it could be accepted with what appears to be ownership approval over minor details. So that is kind of in line with how we've been communicating about this. So I would say the new information is that Brandon Ayuk had a meeting with them, that apparently there's progress or movement. But I would say the status quo is that we are waiting on ownership approval for this to go through, which appears to be the particular hangup ever since the situation where the San Francisco 49ers agreed to, in principle, the trade to send Brandon Ayuk to the Steelers. Now, just yesterday, we had a Steelers insider basically say that, emphatically say, that the deal has never once included a player. It has always been a second round draft pick and a mid round draft pick. That's apparently what the 49ers have accepted in principle, which makes me question the initial reports from Ian Rappaport, because, again, that entire situation was so abnormal. To hear a report that was accepted by both the Steelers, by the 49ers, and a contract that was accepted by Brandon Ayuk, yet it was only announced in principle and not as a finalized deal. And now that was a while ago. We had never seen a report like that really come out, and it's happened twice now with this Brandon Ayuk situation. And then we now hear what the Pittsburgh Steelers are offering, and if the 49ers accepted, the terms from a compensation standpoint to receive a second and a mid round pick for Brandon Ayuk. What a terrible trade that would be. That would be an instant L. That's assuming why that hasn't happened is because if there is no player coming back, it makes zero sense for the 49ers to trade Brandon Ayuk, regardless of the situation, with how much they are going to have to pay him at market value and all this. So this is where this thing is just becoming like, all right, it's becoming crystal clear that for the last week or so, this is between Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers. And apparently it's pending ownership approval. So that's where this feels like this is at. The trade to me, the further and further we get into this, is becoming a figment of our imagination. It's becoming what appears to be a ploy in the media to, I don't know, spin this situation a particular way because I do believe if the 49ers were interested in trading Brandon Ayuk would have been traded already. The problem is they don't have the compensation that ensures that they actually win that move. And so that's where again we're starting to roll our eyes at this situation and how long it is taking because it's clear they're not trading him. They would have done it already. Again, barring a Hail Mary uh, other team that comes into the mix and or the Steelers somehow just like having a change of heart and okay, we're going to offer up Minka Fitzpatrick and a second. I don't see a trade materializing because it doesn't make sense. The 49ers clearly have proven the worth in compensation via the Browns, via the Pats. The Steelers aren't matching that, so that makes the Steelers a non-viable option as a trade partner. So they are continuing to be discussed, of course, but again, everything we are hearing from the insiders is effectively saying this is a situation where continue they just continue to kind of I don't even know, just kind of sit around. So I'm curious to know, what do you think about this? What do you think about this ongoing situation? Who's going to make a move? By the sounds of this report, it sounds like it's in the 49ers court. Sounds like Brandon Ayuk uh, demands are what they are, and it's up to the 49ers to accept their trade. But I don't believe there is a viable trade partner. So that leaves one option: accept what the demands are and move on. It is what it is. Um, it's August 20th. As a result of waiting till August 20th to get this done, you also have to deal with the ramifications of waiting that long to get it done. And that includes an absolutely exploded wide receiver market. Um, so I don't know what other decisions are to be made. And again, Brandon Ayuk isn't playing on a 5th-year option. None of this would be going on if Brandon Ayuk and the reality of him playing on a 5th-year option was real. That's the reality that a lot of people need to wrap around this situation to understand that the 5th-year option isn't a viable option. So there's two options that we continue to talk about. There's a reason why the 49ers aren't even talking about playing Brandon Ayuk on the 5th-year option because it's not a viable option. So sign, trade. I believe trade's off the table. So that means sign. Get this thing done and let's focus on the year. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for hopefully not very many more Brandon Ayuk updates.